The first day of Shrine Bowl practices are in the books. We've had a first look at all of the participants at this year's Shrine Bowl. Let's go ahead and dive into some of the day one takeaways in today's on-the-road edition of Best Available. Thank you for watching today's episode. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Yeah, we are on the road for the first time, so make sure that you are subscribed. Reporting live from a hotel in Dallas where we're having to be careful about being too loud in this room. But make sure that you are subscribed. Follow us on socials at BestAvailableYT and consider becoming a member to support the channel so that we can continue to go on the road with exciting opportunities like this one in Dallas at the Star. But let's go ahead and dive right into those thoughts from today's practice. It is cold and dark in Dallas, and I hope wherever you are in the States that you're staying warm right now. That was kind of the introduction to Dallas for me, flying in yesterday. Had a chance to talk to a couple of guys during media availability on Thursday, and then Friday morning went straight to practice. And the first thing I want to talk about is the Star. What an insane practice facility the Dallas Cowboys have on their hands. Just really, really impressive stuff. I mean, it's a whole complex at this point with, restaurants and shops and all of this. But it is truly gorgeous. If you ever have the opportunity to check it out, I highly encourage you to. Just an A+ venue for anything. So appreciate them hosting because I think it makes the experience all the better, especially on cold days like this one. But as far as the day one, I went in trying to focus on linemen. That doesn't mean I only saw linemen, but when it came to one-on-ones, I love watching the trenches. I think it's the most effective place to see actual meaningful reps between guys. And the number one guy that stood out today has got to be Duke's Brian Parker, someone that was a right tackle for Duke this past season and announced at the Shrine that he was exclusively going to play center. And I genuinely think he's the best prospect here this weekend. I know that's saying a lot. There are quite a few very talented players here at Shrine. But the fact that he just showed up and started playing center and just dominated one-on-ones, it didn't matter who it was, even Dante Corleone, they went after it a couple of reps. That kind of size difference and his inexperience having to, anchor against defensive line bull rushes. I thought it was, really admirable. So I think he was the star of the day. Operationally as a center, I think he had one miscue, or I think he might have snapped the ball early, it seemed like. But to be frank, it just felt like operations, whether it was the East team, the West team, first team, second team, third team, like all the operations were kind of messy today. That's to be expected in the first day of practices. So I'm not going to panic too much there. But overall, man, Parker looks like he could be a legitimate center at the NFL level. I already liked him and thought, he doesn't have ideal length. If I'm looking right here, Parker is listed at 32.25-inch arms, which is not ideal for a tackle, but I think he could make do just because he is so dang fluid and can move really well at the position. But center looks like it might be his calling card. The snaps look clean. I'm not the best evaluator of snaps, but I didn't see any issues there, and I just thought his dominance in one-on-one and then even in team period, just climbing up, doing well in pass pro. There's a lot I liked about him today, and he was the big star takeaway for me. Especially on the West roster. I think he, might have a really nice game on Tuesday. Also want to bring up another offensive lineman. That's Notre Dame tackle Emil Wagner. I had heard from someone there that, there's some scouts that think he might be the best prospect at the Shrine Bowl this year. Or I would say Parker, but I've not gotten to Wagner's film, and I came away floored. I mean, this is a guy that's barely 300 pounds, and yet at the same time, he's 6'5", has over 34.5-inch arms, and you want to talk about a guy that can move in space. There were some pass sets for him where he's got tight end help on his side, and so the pass rusher is splitting out wide, and then he's still able to gain depth and catch that angle for that pass rusher, and then recover inside when those guys try to go inside. Like that kind of lateral agility at that size and length, that makes me very eager to go back and watch his film. As far as the guys I'm here watching that I've not scouted or graded yet. Emil Wagner's a big winner for me. I cannot wait to get into his tape because I just thought one-on-ones, team, all of that, another big winner in the trenches for me. The Florida State defensive lineman Darrell Jackson Jr. is an exceptionally large human. I don't think that is breaking news to anyone, but we're talking about 6'5", 328, 35-inch arms. Like, just, he stood out among all the defensive linemen immediately. Like, you could immediately tell which one he was. And some of the one-on-ones, like, I don't think it's perfect, but he can play with really good upper body strength. He had a couple nice, stack and sheds, get extended, and then just kind of rip an offensive lineman off of him. Those flashes are really exciting to me. I've watched some of his tape. I've not, given him a full grade yet. But that was the kind of day for me where I was like, all right, this is a guy that I'm really excited about. And just obviously the physical tools. I don't know many defensive linemen with 35-inch arms. That is just patently absurd. So the physical tools alone, plus, some of the flashes he had on one-on-ones, really stood out to me. Excited to see if he can layer that onto a productive day 2 as well. A couple of names I wasn't expecting to like, or didn't know much about, that really stood out in the secondary, and one is North Carolina cornerback Marcus Allen. I don't believe there's any relation to the great Marcus Allen. Big shoes to fill there, but this is a guy, he's just a ridiculous frame, crazy length. I think he was the longest corner in the class. If you see me looking away, I just have the roster right here with all the measurements. But as far as Allen, we're talking about almost 6'1", so he's 6 foot and 7/8 inches, 32 and 3/8 arms, which is the longest of any corner in the East team. But he's only 176 pounds, so that's a frame that can clearly fill out. But watching him in drills, I like to watch the DBs and their change of direction drills, see how quick their feet are, how quick they can change direction. He aced all of that for me. I was pretty impressed. That combination of ability to change direction on top of length is a really exciting prospect. And then he got targeted deep during the team period. It's an underthrown ball. Might have been an intentional back shoulder because I thought the wide receiver did a good job of adjusting back to it. But Marcus Allen just contorted his body, the body control to adjust, at full speed, because I don't think he was able to slow himself down, but then contort his body and bat the ball down. It was a really, really nice play. That has me excited to see more of him, because I think that frame alone, if he can fill out, to me, that's a starting wide receiver frame. So I hope he can fill out. I'm curious to see how he does against the run when I turn on the tape. But that is another name I have circled that I'm going to go back to and watch after the Shrine Bowl weekend. The other secondary guy that really stood out to me was Texas Tech safety Cole Wisniewski. This was a guy that if he was a linebacker, he would have been the second largest linebacker on the East roster, but he's coming in at nearly 6'1", 236 pounds. This is a big, lengthy guy. And I was another guy I was surprised for his size. Like, that is a gigantic safety. I thought he was moving really well out there. Had a really nice planned team where there's kind of a spot route over the middle of the field that he breaks down on, and then uses that length to not run through the defender, but adjust and get around him and still use that length to bat the ball down. Joey McGuire, the head coach of Texas Tech, was at practice today. I know he was talking to Baron Morton and Wisniewski after practice. Just seemed like a proud dad. I just love little moments like that. So that was cool to see. It's funny, I've watched a few of the Texas Tech guys. I mean, obviously David Bailey, Romello Height, Jacob Rodriguez. They've got a lot of talent on this team. And I had not heard anything about Wisniewski. So to see him today and then watch him makes me be like, I got to go back to some of this defensive tape and see how things go. But Wisniewski's a big winner for me, because I think that frame and that ability to play in coverage and move, it makes him an interesting, can he be one of these versatile chess piece safeties that you can kind of move all over the field, maybe rush the passer. I'm really excited to get into it and see, what kind of skill set he provides with that frame and those physical tools. A couple wide receivers. I did not spend the time on one-on-ones today with receivers and corners. My plan is to do that tomorrow for our day 2 video, so stay tuned and watch that tomorrow after our takeaways. But a couple guys I'm excited to keep an eye on, because they were doing a little bit for me when I was able to keep an eye on. Malik Benson, the Oregon wide receiver, just looks super fluid. He's got, maybe a little bit of a lighter frame, but he seems like a nuanced route runner. Seems very comfortable gearing down, getting in and out of his routes. So someone I'm very interested to see, how he can perform, especially as we get closer to the scrimmage and then even on Tuesday night during the game. And then another one I'm going to keep an eye on is Xavier Thomas, the LSU wide receiver. Was talking to Trevor Sikkema with Pro Football Focus, who seems to be a big Xavier Thomas guy, and he's pointing him out. It seems like he's twitchy, explosive, another guy that I will be keeping an eye on for day 2. And then I got one last name for you guys. Let me find it because I only know the last name. It is Jack Stonehouse, the younger brother of another Stonehouse that was at the Shrine Bowl a couple of years ago. And I mean, this guy was punting the hell out of the ball. We were joking it might have been the most impressive performance of either practice we saw this morning. But Stonehouse was just bombing kicks, probably 45, 50 yards. And you're like, who cares about 45, 50 yard punts? It was the hang time on them combined. We started getting the timer out. I think the best we got was close to 5 seconds, 4.91, 4.97, something like that. The hang time combined with the leg. I don't know a lot about punting, but I feel very confident in telling you that kid's going to be a starting punter in the NFL. The combination of strength and hang time, there are a couple times I thought he was going to hit the ceiling of the practice facility. That is a guy with a monster leg. He has some really good control on it. I'm very, very curious to see what ends up happening with him, and I'm actually excited to watch him punt again tomorrow, funny enough. So we'll see how that goes. Very, very interesting. That's all we have for day one. I'm going to try and keep these short and sweet. I have limited footage. I'm trying to take so many notes during practices. We've got interviews going on throughout the week, so it's a very busy daily schedule, but I at least wanted to make sure I can hop in, give you guys some of my thoughts during these practices, and then we'll have plenty of content to go in the coming weeks once I get back to Indianapolis. So that'll do it for day one takeaways from the Shrine. Let me know what you thought. If you were keeping along, following along on Twitter or live stream or anything, let me know your thoughts as well about who you thought stood out. So thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on day two, and have a great rest of your day. And stay warm. I know how brutal it's about to be.